Hey, it's James, Fathers Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. You have to make the arguments in court when it counts. If you're not making the arguments that pertain to your case, then why are you even going to court? I talk about things like let's say somebody's doing a contempt and you tell a judge, why does your existence even matter if you're not going to enforce your order and do a contempt motion? If I went and just took the kids from the mother and didn't let the mother see the kids for like a couple months, you'd probably be outraged because this court has an issue, and it's well established by multiple documentaries that these courts have an issue with discrimination against fathers, thinking we're less human beings, or less parents, just like Jim Crow South courts thought black people were less humans. So they would screw them over or deprive them of their rights. In a contempt motion, if I'm in a contempt motion, I'd say, look, you have an obligation under the Code of Judicial Conduct to maintain the public's confidence in the judicial system. You have an oath that you took to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the land. Why do you create a court order if you're not going to enforce it and maintain the integrity of the court system and keep the public's confidence that your orders mean something? We voted you in. And we're gonna go through all this hemming and hawing and fighting, and we're gonna get a court order. And the court order is assumed to be in the best interest of children. And you're gonna write in court order after all the blood, sweat, and tears we went through. And then when somebody violates that court order, you can go, yeah, oh well. So if I have a contract and I come to contract court to sue somebody for my 50% of the business, and the other person ran away and took 100% of the profit, you would just say, yeah, oh well. The court order or the contract or whatever, doesn't matter. Oh well. I would jam a judge in a corner and make them feel crunchy. See, nobody puts any pressure on the judge. I would jam them in a corner and say, if you're doing a trial and somebody stands up and just starts making some noise or starts talking to themselves real loud like they're mental, you would tell them to sit down and be quiet. Maybe you give them one warning. After that, you're going to warn them they're going to get found in contempt, or they're going to get kicked out of the courtroom, or maybe hauled off to jail. Why would you're not going to tolerate that more than once or twice within the same day. Why would you tolerate a violation of your court order for day after day, a week after week, or month after month? How come you don't stop it? If you order somebody to go to jail after a criminal case and you order the sheriff to haul them off to jail and the sheriff won't take them to jail, you would get that sheriff fired. There's some things you won't tolerate being violated in your courtroom. But for some reason, it's no big deal when a father's rights to the kids, and really the child's right to a father, is violated. How come you don't care about that? Did we just go through all the fighting and hemming and hawing and argument just for nothing? Just for formality? Just so everybody can get paid? That's what everybody says outside the court about this court system. I hope that's not true, but you're starting to make it look like it's true. Now, other people say, oh, don't talk to the judge like that. Why the hell not? Why not talk to a judge in a court of law where you make oral arguments and you persuade the judge to think something? If there's laws, if there's a code of judicial conduct and an oath of a judge and the Constitution and the laws on contempt and the laws and case law about stuff, why would you not tell the judge that stuff? That's like saying, oh, I'm not going to tell the referee that they miss a holding call or a traveling call or, like in soccer, a sliding tackle from behind. I'm not going to tell the referee they missed that call because I told them in the first half and I don't want to bug them. How freaking stupid are you to say I'm not going to call them on missing a call? I'm not going to call them out for missing a call and doing their job. That's their job. And you're sitting there saying you're afraid to do that. Where are we getting this from? Because some lawyers say, oh, don't piss the judge off. And so you fall into that peer pressure like a good little zombie and sheep and just follow what everybody says. And just because somebody in a suit and tie said it, those lawyers come out of law school not knowing what the heck to do. And their law firms say, well, don't ruffle the judge's feathers. And everybody's persuaded and controlled by this false narrative. And it's like the land of Oz. Or the Wizard of Oz. Everybody is afraid of the wizard, but he's really this little punk standing behind a curtain with a big loud speaker voice. The whole land is controlled by some little dude projecting real loud. Even in Hitler's Nazi Germany, let's pretend that after Hitler's Nazi Germany, they had the Nuremberg Trials. Everybody that was put on trial for crimes against humanity All said, I was just following orders. I was just following orders. So suppose let's pretend we can believe all those guys. So those guys are saying, I just gave into peer pressure because everybody else was following Hitler. I didn't want to be the one who stuck my neck out. Like, just think about it. If everybody's following Hitler's orders because they're worried if they step out of line, then all the other soldiers and henchmen are going to have me decapitated or have me taken out or shot by the firing squad. They're all afraid of what everybody else is afraid of, but deep down, everybody else really doesn't want to do what they're doing, or they have a conscience about it. It's like one bully in the school is bullying the whole school because they bully a kid here or there, and everybody thinks it's wrong, but nobody wants to stand up to the bully. And all it takes is 5 of the 1,500 kids at the school to stand up to the bully, and the bullying will stop. Isn't that crazy how humanity works? And then you go to court, and a judge is supposed to be thick-skinned. A judge is supposed to adhere to the law. A judge is supposed to hear everybody's arguments. But because you want to let a judge abuse their authority, what you go into court and do is you go into court and you make some sideways argument that has nothing to do with what you're talking about, or it's a half-ass argument like, oh, please, they're violating the court order, please help me. Instead of all the stuff I just told you should be an argument in court. But you're like, oh no, that's too rough to tell the judge about his oath and the code of jus and his obligation. Why are those things even written down if you're not going to cite them? This is the insanity of my gender. You guys go to court, and you go into court because like, this chick is keeping my kids from me. She's violating this stuff. The judges don't even care. And you're complaining about the whole system. Then you go to court and you go in there and you pretend and put up a fake photo. This is what I can't stand. Is how fake everybody is. Now, I'm not saying going in there like a bull in a china shop. But I'm saying, stop going in there and there's a big old elephant in the room that is discrimination against the dad or the mother's being a child abuser, and you won't call her out for that. Your Honor, this is a form of child abuse, withholding a child from a father. If you take a teddy bear from a kid, or if you're depriving the kid of freedom to go out and play with the kids, say it's 100 degrees and it's a summer in Chicago or in the South, it's 100 degrees and humid, and you tell your kids, no, just stay in the house and do chores. And they're looking outside and all the kids in the neighborhood are running through sprinklers and playing. We would call that cruel. We call it cruel and unusual punishment for your kids. We would call that child abuse. Or if the mother doesn't take the child to school and keeps the child at home and they don't got any social interaction. Depriving the child of these things, you would be outraged about that. Even a teddy bear that the child snuggles with at night, now the child is crying because they don't have their teddy bear and it helps them go to sleep. How much more important is the father than a teddy bear or playing with kids in the neighborhood or even school? I'm 1,000 times more important than that. But see, these arguments that I'm talking about that are common sense and that make total sense as to why the court should rescue the child from an abusive, alienating mother or vice versa, who's committing contempt, and you'll go in there and pretend and you'll say some other argument that doesn't help you, and then you'll walk out and complain, why is the judge like this? Why does the judge suck? Why is the judge discriminating against me? How come the judge won't maintain their orders? Why does the court even exist if they don't maintain the orders? Why don't you ask that when it counts in the courtroom? Think about a football coach. If everybody in the stands looks on the replay screen, they look up at the big Diamond Vision replay screen, and they see the guy was out of bounds at the 20-yard line, and the ref said it was a touchdown. Or somebody hit somebody late, or somebody is holding, and the quarterback had all day to throw the ball. And everybody sees it on the big screen. And the coach doesn't say anything about it. And at the press conference said, the refs sucked today and they cost us the game. But the coach never got on the refs and never got the refs to start looking for those penalties. And the other team kept holding and the refs kept missing calls. Coaches will cuss a referee out, but you won't even firmly and politely tell a judge what he's supposed to do. I would tell a judge, if you're a lifeguard, the fact that you won't enforce your own court order, you have the power to rescue the child from danger that they're in. You have the power to rescue them. Your number one allegiance and obligation and your duty of care is to the child and the welfare of the child. The very best interest of the child. The child is being deprived of their best interest because the court order is assumed to be their best interest, and you won't even uphold your own court order. How can we not offended at that? So if you were a lifeguard and you saw some kids drowning in a pool, you would say, oh, maybe later. Oh, no big deal. It's your job. And my gender is so stupid. We'll say, oh, that I'll look bad if I complain about the judge doing a horrendous thing and not rescuing the kids. You guys need to grow some